When the Demon King descended upon the human world, terrorizing thousands of lives with his monsters, only one person was able to defeat him, the warrior Devota. The hero promised by God saved the world from utter ruin. This mighty warrior never once uttered a word, nor did they reveal who lies behind their helmet. Tragically, after returning peace to the people, Devota was murdered. Taking pity on her, God decided to give her a second life. Hopefully this time around, the hero could finally have a happy life. Unfortunately, Devota, now reincarnated as a 7-year-old girl named Diamond, doesn't think that this life is such a blessing. Once again, she is in an orphanage where she has to steal food from random mansions to eat. Well, not much of a happy life if you ask me. While she's about to take some more food, she feels a strange presence nearby. She casts an invisibility spell before sneaking around to see some guy trying to open the owner of the mansion's safe. Suddenly, a blade is pointed at her. A man behind him can sense that she is using the invisibility spell. When the man demands that she show herself, she kicks him right where the sun doesn't shine. Ouch, that got her hurt. There is no way that she'll let herself get caught, so she quickly makes her escape. The next morning in the orphanage, Diamond is awakened by the matron who tells her that there's someone there who wants her. The orphanage is no ordinary one, nor is it a safe one. In truth, this is a corrupt place that sells children to wealthy families. She has planned to run away when she is older, but she hasn't expected to sell this soon. As soon as she's introduced to the one buying her, she realizes that the man is using an illusion spell, hiding his identity. This was the man who pointed a sword at her last night. The man then tells her she needn't be afraid, for he will take care of her. Naturally, Diamond is skeptical of this, but she tells herself she'll go along just until she gets a chance to bolt. The man suddenly picks her up and smiles brightly at her, asking if he can call her by her nickname, Dia. Diamond becomes even more wary of his kindness, and she vows to not be fooled by that smile. Eventually, they leave the orphanage and travel through the forest. Diamond remains suspicious about the whole thing. Suddenly, a man appears from the sky, greeting the man she's with familiarly. The man is obviously quite adept with magic as well. The man greets her pleasantly, and upon realizing that her cheeks are so soft, the man goes on squishing them until an annoyed Diamond bites him. She then learns that the two are actually father and son. She asks him what their names are, but she forgets that she still has a missing tooth. The two laugh at her obvious lisps and can't resist her cuteness. Can we blame them? She's so adorable. Diamond recalls her horrid past life. She suffered in a horrible orphanage. The warrior's powers only awakened during a sudden monster attack, but it was too late. Her friends already perished before she could save them. After that, she was placed under the care of Cardinal Maggiore, and went through harsh training to fulfill her duties as a warrior. After winning against the Demon King, she was murdered by the same cardinal who raised her. We are yet to meet this guy, but I already hate his guts. In this second life, she refuses to let anyone use her ever again. When the men eventually stop laughing upon seeing her anger, they introduce themselves. The jet black-haired guy is called Giuliano, and his brown-haired father is called Hiladius. They are from the Leocardia ducal family, known by all as the Empire's defense as well as its greatest offense. She once again demands to know why they came to get her. Hiladius reasons that it's because she is a talented child. The two men continue praising her, much to her bewilderment. They even declare her a genius when they find out she is self-taught when it comes to magic. Hiladius formally asks her to come with them, making it clear that she will not be harmed and that they only intend to keep her safe until she's an adult. Diamond is assessing them quietly, and she concludes that the two don't seem to be lying. Hiladius even promises to save the other children in the orphanage and ensure their safety and education. Finally, she gives in, and with a bright smile on her face, she agrees to go with them. Giuliano excitedly tells her that she'll get to eat all kinds of yummy food at their home. He then introduces a piece of candy to her, much to Diamond's fascination. She then learns that Giuliano is actually just about to turn 13. The members of the Leocardia family physically mature faster than others, so even though they're still in their teens, they look at least 20. Yes, we all thought he was older. Our bad. Hiladius then tells them that it is dinner time. As she follows them, she knows that she is physically too young to make it on her own. For now, she plans to make the most of the knowledge she'll learn from being with them. Diamond is now looking even more adorable, dressed in a cute pink dress after finishing a meal. The men have had a hard time getting her to clean up since she refuses any kind of help. For now, only Giuliano is with her, so she inquires about the Duke's whereabouts. He tells her that he's dealing with something dangerous. He also informs her that his father is actually not a duke, but a count. It is his mother who is the Duchess. Suddenly, Giuliano comments that his father's location is getting farther according to the tracking bracelet. Diamond suggests finding him, but Giuliano reminds her that the Count told them to stay put. Not one to sit idly, Diamond drags him along. Using his power of flight, Giuliano carries Diamond to look for his father. When she senses danger, Diamond makes him land and runs to approach the danger alone. Casting her invisibility spell, she wanders until she sees the Count being held captive by some men. Determined to rescue him, she uses her small yet powerful form to fight off the bandits who are bewildered that they cannot see their opponent. Look at our girl go. Watch out, bad guys. She is adorable, but she's a menace. Meanwhile, the Count is not at all impressed because it turns out that he was only pretending to be hurt. Nonetheless, he still treats Diamond kindly, glad that she is not injured at all. Aw, he really is a perfect father figure for our Diamond. When Giuliano manages to catch up to them, he tells them that they are reckless and should have waited for him. He is there to obtain something from those men, a poison from the Urale family. After that whole ordeal, Diamond's little body can no longer handle any more excitement, so she eventually falls asleep in Giuliano's arms like the adorable little baby she is. Look at the potential sibling moment. Later on, they settle into the Goppo territory, the closest land before they get into the Leocardia estate. Diamond washes before bed, and after marveling at the cute face God has thankfully given her, Palladius offers to dry and brush her hair for her. This is the first time anyone has done such a thing for her. As she thanks the Count, she realizes that this is not such a bad feeling after all. Giuliano insists on giving her a life-size bear, and Diamond, being a grown woman on the inside, is far from amused. He convinces her that the bear actually has a magical compartment to store things. When he mentions that the Count really wants her to have it, Diamond reluctantly agrees, much to Giuliano's immense joy. Before bed, Giuliano tells her stories about the Leocardia family and how their lands are blessed by God. As she listens to him, she recalls how the cardinal in her past life made sure to keep her ignorant so he could control her better. Ugh, how despicable. When Giuliano broaches the topic of the prophesized hero, she can't help but react when he mentions that the defeat of the Demon King happened 17 years ago. She has reincarnated 10 years after she died. A lot of things have changed. Unsurprisingly, Giuliano admits to not knowing much at all about the warrior's past. After all, people did not know much about her, especially since Maggiore instructed her not to talk to anyone, even the soldiers she fought with. The following day, Diamond is pretty tired. She did not manage to get a wisp of sleep due to the horrid memories she couldn't shake off. Giuliano ensures that she is comfortable during their travel, but she insists that he tells her more stories. Determined to entertain her, the boy tells her about the time he tried to run away to become a warrior. His father caught him at the front door, and his mother cried because of his actions. She begged him never to become a warrior, telling him how warriors never have a happy life. His mother always looks sad when the warriors are mentioned. This makes Diamond think that maybe the Duchess knows something about her past life. OMG, his mother probably knows her. Is this fate? Curious, Diamond asks for the Duchess's full name. After all, she needs fierce allies. She made a vow in this life to live for herself. To do that, she must first get revenge on the man who wronged her. We totally support you, girl. That man better prepare himself. The Duchess and head of House Leocardia is called Abdorisa Leocardia, a name she has never heard before. The Duchess is known for her skills at wielding a two-hand sword. Seeing her all serious, Giuliano lifts her and asks her if she's being suspicious again. Diamond answers that she is worried that his mother will not like her. He laughs good-heartedly and assures her that his mother is a good person and that Diamond is too cute for anyone not to like her. That's totally true, Giuliano. It is entirely impossible not to love her. Suddenly, the carriage shakes due to a crash. Palladius is quick to check if they're alright and informs them that the third post has been attacked by monsters. Palladius assures Diamond that he will protect them and gives her a shield artifact to keep her safe. She's in disbelief as to why he would give such a rare and top-grade magical item to someone like her. She questions him if he is doing so much for her just so they can use her powers in the future. However, the Count is taken aback by her suspicions. He is about to address them, but Giuliano informs him that more monsters have appeared. Palladius tells him that he'll go ahead of them. Before he leaves, he tells her that they'll speak about this issue later on. When she insists on going with him, he explains that the reason he gave her the ring is so she can learn to value herself more. He merely wishes that she lives safely like other children do. Later on, while Diamond and Giuliano are traveling again, the carriages stop once again. Suddenly, Giuliano shouts at her to get down. A harpy is attacking the carriage. It is trying to get little Diamond, but before it can get its claws on her, Giuliano grabs her and gets her out of the carriage. The two fall to the ground, and Giuliano quickly puts up an invisibility spell so they're safe for the moment. Diamond speculates that the harpy followed her scent since they love to eat young children. They try to get away, but they realize that the lone harpy has actually called out to his companions. Soon enough, more harpies descend on their location. Giuliano draws his sword, so Diamond asks for one herself. They argue about it like children, even though a monster is literally in front of them. Guys, there are better times and places to squabble. Of course, the harpy hears their bickering, and it is quick to attack them. Fortunately, a mighty swing of a woman's sword vanquishes the insidious creature. The woman with glowing yellow eyes and jet black hair is Duchess Abdorisa Leocardia, Giuliano's mother. She is so awesome. I want to be as cool as her. Seeing her now, Diamond is startled that she's remarkably similar to a girl she once knew, Risa. Giuliano happily introduces her to his mother. Diamond knows that she can't possibly tell her about her previous life. Even if she believes her, nothing good ever comes from being involved with the warrior Devota. What worries her, however, is the fact that the Duchess doesn't seem so happy to see her. She wonders if she has offended her somehow. Meanwhile, Giuliano is only now realizing something. The Duchess then tells him to go ahead, for she still has to take care of the remaining harpies. She turns away and apologizes, telling her son that they will discuss Diamond later. Seeing Diamond upset, Giuliano explains that there is a reason behind his mother's treatment of her. Diamond also meets Tandy, the deputy chief of the Leocardia's third post, who is instantly besotted by her cuteness. When the carriage arrives for the children, the Duchess watches them leave, marveling at how familiar the girl seems to be. Oh, this is getting exciting. Does she remember her? In the third post, Giuliano explains to her that his mother is probably awkward around her because of something that happened in the past. He tells her how he has a younger sister who went to heaven at a young age. It was 7 years ago. If she was alive, she would be a couple of years older than Diamond. When the Duchess sees girls that age, she feels sad. What he doesn't know is that Diamond is actually 7 years old too. She is just small for her age. How heartbreaking. The pain that the Duchess is going through is unimaginable. When the Count arrives, Diamond witnesses firsthand just how loving the relationship is between the Count and the Duchess. Giuliano has warned her beforehand that his parents are quite lovey-dovey with each other, so she better get used to it. Goals, these two are so in love. Where can we find a relationship like this? Diamond is surprised when the Duchess calls her, telling her that she is glad that she is safe. When she receives a smile from her, Diamond is comforted somehow. Giuliano and Diamond are to go ahead to their home while the adults finish some stuff up in the third post. Hiladius informs them that Marciana is eager to meet their adorable guest. In the carriage, Diamond inquires who Marciana is. Giuliano tells her that she is his twin sister, the official heir of their house. When she asks if only females inherit the title, he explains that it is passed down to the strongest among them. He admits that even though it annoys him, his sister's powers pretty much surpass his. He describes that the stronger the power, the more clearly the hair and eye color of their bloodline appear, which is why his sister looks more similar to their mother. When they arrive at the mansion, they are instantly called upon by Marciana. They get to ride the elevator, which fascinates Diamond to no end. When they meet her, Marciana gives her a warm welcome into their home. Diamond's first impression of her is how cool she is. Eventually, the siblings begin bickering about who gets to spend time with Diamond. She can't get over how strange the nobles are, but as the eldest, she knows she has to break up the fight. She calls them up for fighting like kids before deciding that each of them will get a turn holding her. A very diplomatic approach, but one that comes with a prize because in the end, she has to deal with them constantly outdoing each other just to entertain her. They just can't resist her cuteness, so you just have to be patient with them, Diamond. She is totally exhausted by the time Rabine, the maid attending to her, baits her. She tells the maid that she is a commoner and that she doesn't have to tend to her. However, the maid will not have it, stating that the little miss is a guest and that all children deserve to be treated with respect. Diamond realizes more and more that the people in this house are strange to her. Maggiore hated that she was a commoner. The people she's around now make her feel important, and it feels good. I am so glad that Diamond is healing one step at a time. As she is falling asleep, the Duchess comes to see her. Abderisa apologizes for waking her up. When she notices that the Duchess's eyes are red, she sleepily tells her not to cry, wiping some of the tears off her face. However, she is quickly taken over by sleepiness, leaving the Duchess smiling fondly over her. The following morning, Diamond has an adorable breakfast with the entire family. They are also fond of her, ensuring that she eats to her heart's content. Even the Duchess laughs at her cute expressions. After that, Obdorisa requests that the two of them speak about something. The twins escort her to their mother's office, telling her that it may be about something important. After asking her to play with them after the two take their leave, she meets Galio Tolle, the main butler of the house. The first question she asks is if she did something wrong. The Duchess instantly dissuades her from the notion, for she merely wants her opinion. Apparently, Palladius wants to adopt her, so she wants to know what Diamond wants. Diamond knows that if she joins the house, she will finally have a family, but she wants to know what the Duchess wants too. Obdorisa admits that she is unsure because even though she has been drawn to her since she met her, it is not enough to accept her into the family right away. She doesn't want Diamond to feel like a replacement for the child she lost. At least she's honest and treats her like an adult. Diamond tells her that it is okay and that the Duchess doesn't have to feel sorry because she intends to decline the offer. She declares that she likes herself as she is now. Even though she is happy living here, her goal has always been revenge. She doesn't want to get attached to this family and put them in danger. After the Duchess gives her a warm hug, she tells Diamond that she can still continue to live in the palace. She'll be taken care of and will get an education. She's incredibly grateful for this, but she asks if she can get a job. Both the Duchess and the butler cannot believe that they just heard a little kid ask for a job. Diamond explains that she has to earn money to live. The Duchess makes her understand that young kids don't need to earn money. Diamond continues to argue, worrying about the food she will eat and the clothes she will wear. The Duchess is quick to rebut her ideas, even forbidding her of using her powers until she graduates from school, something that Diamond is completely against. The Duchess wants her to have a strong body before practicing magic, and if she disobeys her orders, she is willing to punish her by forbidding her from having her precious chocolate fondue as dessert. True to her child nature, Diamond is devastated to hear this, agreeing to the Duchess's condition in the end. After Diamond updates the twins about what she has talked about with their mother, the archpriest of Leocardia, along with Galio, comes to see them while they are playing cards. Father Luce has been ordered to give Diamond a checkup. The energetic priest is a quick addition to Diamond's list of strange people. Nonetheless, the checkup starts, and despite Giuliano's misconception, Diamond's age has been revealed. Diamond confirms that she is turning 7 that year. Marciana is worried that there is something wrong with her health, but the priest assures her that Diamond is just naturally small. He tells them that her thinness can be remedied by eating more. Meanwhile, Galio suddenly turns serious. He thinks how similar Diamond is to Marciana when she is younger. She is even 7 years old. Can it be? By Gallia's account, this sudden news of the Count's passing rattled the Leocardia ducal family to its core. More particularly the lady of the house, Obdorisa, who began to feel a throbbing sensation in her belly. The search for the truth about such devastating news escaped the minds of the people with Obdorisa, as they immediately called for the house doctor in order to tend to the already collapsed lady. News of the lady's ill health had spread substantially across their territory, and yet, a bit of hope shined through, as not only was he alive, Count Hiladius also rushed home when he heard of his wife's condition. Unfortunately, tragedy wasn't evaded, as by the time he returned, there had already been an attack on his estate and their newborn child had been kidnapped. Finally, all hope vanished when they caught the suspect, but all he could say was the young baby had already been killed. Poor family. Really, what a devilish move to pull off involving a baby. The family concludes that it had been an attack to weaken them, and they might have succeeded when Hiladius starts blaming himself. But with fierce eyes, Obdorisa proclaims that they must stand strong so that they can take their revenge. A mother's love truly knows no bounds. Anyway, back to the present, Galio the butler makes sure to ask about the young girl's birthday, and although the fact that Dia was born in late autumn seems to be interesting enough for the old man to keep it in mind, he reminds himself not to jump to conclusions. After all, the reason why he suddenly visited those memories is because of the resemblance of Dia and Marciana. Besides, they have to inform Dia of her duties as an esteemed guest of the Leocardia family. Dia is to enter the milky class of kindergarten for the youngest kids to start education, and after her classes, she also gets Galio as her private tutor. Funny enough, she gets teased by Giuliano so much because she tries to not be admitted to a class with little kids, when in fact she is one herself. Besides, Rabine, her maid, does a good job of assuring her that all the other kids will be 7 years old as well. What's more important than that, however, is the dinner party. After Dia's nap, she gets awakened by her maids, who promptly assist her in dressing up. They did such a good job that Giuliano, who went to get his sister, is so in shock of her beauty. Being the loving big brother that he is, Giuliano can't help but fawn over and agree to Dia asking if she looks alright in her dress. Seeing the two young masters together like that gives me a sense of pride to Rabin and the other maids. Anyway, Giuliano again states that he's there to escort his little sister since it's Daya's first dinner party out of affection for her. And the boy couldn't help asking whether or not Daya likes him as a big brother as well. To her surprise, Daya immediately answers yes, making Giuliano request that she should call him brother. Even though she truly wishes to accept being adopted because she never had someone, much less a family, to love her this much. Deep in her heart, she knows they would only get her in her search for revenge. But seeing Giuliano's dejected face, Daya surprises him by calling him brother, making him pick her up and hug her tightly out of delight. And so, the time has come for them to make an entrance to the party. Both Giuliano and Daya's arrival creates much chattering and bustling among the crowd, equally because of the former's good looks and the latter's public appearance as the guest of their house. But if the two have created murmurs by their entrance, the same effect has been doubled by the arrival of Count Hiladius and Duchess Obdorisa. If elegants were human beings, they would be those two. In actuality, as the party goes on, every member of the Leocardia family seems to stand out in the crowd, leaving Daya to become aware of how short she is, quite literally. Worse, she also starts to feel the heavy gaze and murmurs of the crowd, seemingly with malicious intent. It makes her so nervous up to the point that Daya notices her hairpin has gone missing. Fortunately, a boy, clearly older than her, manages to find it, introducing himself as Rel Tolle, Father Luce's son and Gallio's grandson. Weird and complicated family. Anyway, the boy does a good job of comforting Daya from the hostile crowd, but immediately leaves when Giuliana and Marciana arrive. Still, that little time is enough to leave an impression on the young Daya. It's Daya's first day of school as a kindergarten pupil. How cute! The little girl can do nothing but blush at the awkwardness of having to face her classmates as the teacher introduces her. She can even feel her pride as a warrior take a big hit. At least her introduction starts off great. Even a classmate, Jamie, stands up and loudly shouts his name as Daya finishes saying hers. This leads Daya to think that perhaps children aren't so bad after all and they're actually very friendly. But immediately after Jamie's friendly statement, he follows it up by saying that Daya's short. Other than that, the moment that the teacher speaks again, pandemonium breaks out among the kids because they want lunch, leaving Daya to reevaluate her stand with the kids. Apparently now, they're scary instead of friendly. A little while later, she meets Elora, who seems friendly enough to approach her while she's reading. But Elora only did so to warn her about watching out for her in class because she thinks that Daya's there because of her sudden boost in social standing. Thankfully, Elora is only referring to competitiveness in classes, not in society like Daya had thought. During class, they learn all about monsters when another obnoxious kid manages to get acquainted with Daya, which is the aforementioned Jamie. Somehow, the cute and clueless Daya ends up being invited to Jamie's house along with Elora. She makes quite a cute fit about kids being immature when Count Hiladius picks her up from school. She has seemingly forgotten she is one too, but the Count only smiles and muses at how their very mature Daya can only put up with that for now. He did ask her to tell Obdorisa about the whole invitation thing though, which Daya does. Upon entering her mother's room, she sees Father Luce there too, who, coincidentally, is actually Jamie's father too. More than that, the Tolle family gets more complicated when apparently, Luce is married to the head of the magic swordsman. Realizing that it is his house that she's going to visit, she suddenly remembers that Rel is also his son, giving her the possibility that she might see the boy again. Despite her very beautiful red dress, Daya is as nervous as one can be when she rides the carriage heading to the Tolle house. She even brings a gift, something she hopes perhaps Rel would like. Upon arrival, Elora and Jamie rush out to greet her and immediately the boy leads them throughout the house because he has something to show them. He gets scolded almost immediately when he tries to run in the hallway though, but he still continues to walk firmly ahead, something both Elora and Daya giggle at. It seems that even the servants at the house of the leader of the magic swordsmen are very strong. Anyway, the three kids finally reach the room that Jamie is so excited about, his mother's trophy room. There, exquisite trophies and spoils of war from her adventures filled the room. From stuffed monsters, large tooth displays, and even magic sculpted objects made by Elora's father, who, Daya finds out, is one of the finest magical sculptors out there. However, what catches the old warrior's attention is the claw of a giant wyvern, an almost impossible hunt because it is a level 9 monster. Through Jamie, she learns it was slain with the help of the Duchess Obdorisa, who apparently goes on high-level hunts with his mother around September, because she gets noticeably sad around that. And now even Daya herself starts to connect the dots. She was given to the orphanage around the same time as the Duchess lost her child. She even looks like Marciana when she was young. It quickly occurs to her that perhaps, just maybe, she is the third missing child. However, Daya quickly scratches that thought away from her head. Little does she know, though, that elsewhere the Duchess also reaches the same trail of thought about her too. She discusses it with Galio, who also thought it was the case too, but reminds his master that Daya's magic, though proving her ancestry to be that of the nobles, is very different from the Leocardia family. Nevertheless, the two put a pin on the topic, and Galio pulls up a report on the orphanage Daya was in. The butler mentions that one of the main customers is the Marquise of Race, and almost immediately Obdarisa slams her hand on the desk. It seems she's already quite acquainted with the name. The name of the Marquise of Race rings steadily in Obdarisa's mind. She knows him as a very ambitious and ill-mannered man that her family has been keeping track of. What's more, the Marquise is heavily affiliated with the Urali family, being their right-hand man. In the entire empire, there are only two duchies, the Leocardia and the Urali. Both families couldn't be more polar opposites. If the Leocardia serves as the shield of the empire and is the source of high-class mages and warriors, the Urali family has no qualms about their usage of dark magic and questionable methods of experiments on live monsters to attain their goals. So, kind of like a yin and yang. Anyway, the Duchess Obdarisa deeply wishes they had more incriminating evidence on the Marquise, their rival family, and their ties with Daya's old orphanage. Speaking of Daya, she now finds herself with her friends in a living room with Rel, who has taken the time to join them, sitting his brother on his lap as Jamie admires Daya's gift. Daya cannot stop thinking about how good he looks though, and is a bit giddy that she can see him again. But it seems Rel is well known even by Elora, who states that Rel works for the audit office of the Duchess's house. Rel, with his casual, laid-back and formal demeanor, merely states that he has taken the time to see his brother's friends because they are also his guests if that were the case. And besides, he wishes to see Daya again as well. Naturally, this makes Daya giddy to no end. Unfortunately, she has private classes with Galio to attend to, so she excuses herself to her friends in order to go home. Galio states that he would have pushed their lesson back further if the young lady was enjoying her time with her friends, but Daya assures the butler that she has to be on time because he has already made the time for her. Anyhow, they start their history lesson and eventually they reach the part about the God-sent warrior saving the world, something that Daya asks for more details about. However, inexplicably, the next thing that happens is that a maid rushes to Duchess Obdarisa about the news that Daya has fallen ill. Obdarisa rushes to see Daya, who has just collapsed. Fortunately, both Galio and Luce are already there, and Daya is already comfortable in bed, albeit with visible redness in her face. The priest assures the Duchess that Daya is in no form of danger whatsoever. Naturally, it falls on the butler to explain why the girl has suddenly gotten sick, and Galio makes a strong point that Daya wasn't sick at the start of the lesson, in that she seems to be in perfect health, and recounting the very same lesson that Galio had taught Giuliano, recalls that she only got sick when she asked about the warrior Devota. From Daya's perspective, however, it seems that she inexplicably got hurt whenever Galio made quite a number of educated guesses about the state of her life before. Pain in her chest starts to arise, even though she has already accepted the fact that she is just an expendable tool by Maggiore in her previous life. Soon enough, she falls to the ground in pain. Yes, this bridges a strange coincidence between Daya and the warrior that disappeared. But if coincidences are being talked about, Luce admits that when he first got there to examine Daya, she reacted aggressively and even apologized. Luce theorizes that she must have thought she was dreaming and that the sight of him reminded her of some horror from her past. All this makes Obdarisa more concerned about Daya. Anyway, seeing that at the very least she's healthy, the three adults then go to see Count Palladius, who he himself asks first about Daya's well-being. Sensing his wife's worry, he proposes that their meeting should be postponed. But knowing that what they will discuss will involve the Marquise and Daya's orphanage anyway, Obdarisa decides to proceed. But first, she confirms through Luce that whatever happened is not because of Daya's personal health, and the priest even states that the girl is in perfect condition to be a swordsman when she grows. They conclude that it must be from emotional damage, and seeing as how she reacts badly to Luce, it may be that the offender was a priest. And so Obdarisa orders Galio to investigate Daya's and the orphanage's background, particularly if there are any priests involved. Curiously, Palladius comes with a report about that as well. Apparently, there was a priest that visited the orphanage yearly before being killed. According to him, the priest was killed because he had seen a project material list and was so shocked by what they were experimenting on that he ran. What's more, he got murdered by the Marquise and Shara Vane, the fifth cardinal. Obderisa can do nothing but think how Shara, being Maggiori's right-hand man, makes the entire thing even more complicated. The information that the Leocardio family has finally started to take shape. Now, at the very least, they know that the current acting pope, Diocletian Judas Maggiore, who also happens to be part of the immediate imperial family, and Borromeo Urali, the head of House Urali, are the true conspirators. All that's left, as Obderisa deduces, is to figure out what they're planning to do. Unfortunately, the grim realization dawns on Hiladius that he makes it clear to the others. Perhaps the reason why the priest that was killed ran and why the two main conspirators are so concerned with the orphanage must be because the ingredient in their project involves children. Ugh, what a sick thought. As for the moment though, the family shifts its focus on helping Dia recover. The entire Leocardia family gathers around the dining table just to see Dia eating well again. However, it's still plainly clear even to Dia that something is bothering the Duchess, and so she asks about it. Obderisa is quick to form an excuse though, and the family gets a laugh out of suggesting what foods to feed Dia so that she recovers well, despite how weird they might be. But mere moments later, a maid rushes forward bearing urgent news for the Duchess. She smiles after receiving it, thereby ensuring that the news must be of good fortune. Well, apparently a rat has infiltrated their territory and subsequently got caught, and that rat is none other than Amaridia Urali, the bastard ex-heir of the Urali family who has asked for a negotiation. The family muses on Amaridia's situation, being a bastard son who was previously the heir but fell from his position when a legitimate heir was born. He's also one of Hiladius's attackers from before. But surprisingly, Obderisa asks Dia as to what the negotiation might be about, and much to their shock, Dia comes to a logical conclusion that Amarita might ask permission to stay in their territory now that he has no position in his house. Her intellect, as well as her talent, really is something that interests Marciana greatly. Marciana's interest in Dia has grown so much that on the very same night that they are about to meet with the captured Amarita, she asks her mother if she will permit her to train Dia personally. As for the reason, Marciana believes Dia will become stronger if she teaches her something called black, but for that, she receives a bonk on the head. As Obderisa rightfully states, the reason why Dia is mature is because she had to grow up quickly. What she needs isn't more strength, but more connections and experiences. Truly, if there's an award for best mother, Obderisa would win it. Anyway, the two of them proceed to meet with the captured prisoner who, despite being injured and seemingly missing an arm, still has nonchalant eyes. His expression quickly changes in the face of Obderisa's intimidation though, but still he goes straight to the point and essentially asks for immunity and help to get himself stronger. Marciana starts by getting angry by his boldness, but again the Duchess rightfully deduces that he must have something valuable if he's so confident that his safety is negotiable. Obderisa has Marciana release the binding spell, and she does so with a glance. A rather impressive feat if it wasn't still obvious. Marciana is awesome. Anyway, it would seem that Amarita's bartering object is that of an Eye of the Cyclops, a magical object that contains the recording of the day when the Duchess lost her third child. And now, it is Obderisa's turn to be angry. She grabs the prisoner by his collar and makes sure that he understands the risk of bartering using her child. But true to his word, the object really does contain evidence of what happened to her third child, leading the Duchess to ask what he really wants. Amarita reveals that he lost his arm attacking the new heir of the Urali and is now fighting for his life. In a rather crazed state, he declares he wants nothing more than revenge on his family and becomes the next head. Without another word, the Duchess asks the guards to bring the prisoner to her estate. She reveals to Marciana that the reason she hasn't attacked the Urali openly is because along with her family and the capital, it is still one of the pillars that hold the empire together. Now, they have gained a new ally that can help them go around that loophole. On the way home from the negotiation with the prisoner, Marciana now has the chance to hold the Eye of the Cyclops containing the recording of her baby sister. Finally, after 7 years, she can see her sister's face again. From her memories of that day, she and Giuliano were brainstorming to suggest a name for their baby sister when they saw her mother and father entering the room already crying and in pain. The look on her mother's face that day is where Marciana's determination to become strong for her family arises, and also, she wants to be strong enough to find those who took her little sister. Back in the present, Marciana finds herself staring at Dia's face as she comes home from playing with Elora and Jamie. She notes how much her face resembles that of the child's face in the recording. Dia snaps her focus staring, which by then Marciana reveals that Dia's room has been relocated to a more spacious and grander one. The girl quickly deduces that the Urali guest will be the one to use her old room though. Still, now her room is on the same floor as hers and Giuliano, so Daya can just go to them anytime she wants. Marciana even gets her to agree to call her sister. She has to leave for a meeting but tasks Giuliano to teach Daya the Black Code if she wants to learn it, despite being scolded by her mom. Apparently, the Black is an elite secret intelligence organization led by Marciana, and she has taken a liking to Daya and wants her to become a member. Giuliano himself wants her to learn some so that she can protect herself. It takes Daya a month to do so, but during a break, she expresses her doubts again about having all these people act kind around and for her. Giuliano, being a model big brother, says that even though she didn't accept the adoption, she will always have a home there with them. And those words stick with Daya affectionately. Even after being reincarnated, Daya still feels stuck in her past life, because of the fact that she only sees her new life as a chance to avenge her wrongful death. However, a thought comes to her mind. What will happen after she gets what she wants? What will she do after she frees herself from her past? Thinking how her family values and protects her in all ways, she starts to question herself. Is it really safe to open her heart to them? But on second thought, maybe this is finally her chance to be part of a family. After school, Giuliano happily picks up and swings Daya in the air, also telling her that the Duchess wants to see her. Looking at how warmly her brother greets her every time they meet, she can't help but to always feel loved. On their way to Risa's office, they encounter Emerita Urali. He formally greets them, but Daya corrects him not to call her lady since she's just staying as a guest in the mansion. Emerita extends his hands, saying that he's just a guest too. Seeing how dazzling and handsome this guy is, Daya's feet are glued to the ground. Completely stunned by his aura, she's now unable to utter a single word. This kid really has a thing for handsome men. She's only 7. Giuliano knows his little sister very well, and so he reminds her to return his greetings. As soon as Daya accepts Amarita's hand, the latter can't help but to make fun of how small she is despite her age. Daya is aware that he's a dangerous person, but she used all her kitty strength to avenge herself. That's the thing she hates the most to hear. Giuliano picks her up again and warns her to be careful around that man. Shortly after, as soon as they enter the office, Risa, Haley, and Father Luce await her. Right after Daya said that she wanted to rescue those remaining children in the orphanage, Haley went straight there to bring them back. They were planning to protect them in their schools and find them loving families, but the matron declined, citing adoption processes that don't even exist. Risa and Haley had no other choice but to take them by force. However, they recently received some information. To confirm this, they asked Daya if the matron ever sent several children away at once. Daya clearly remembers that it was the matron's birthday when the children were sold. The matron at that time acted like she had received the best present. However, Daya doesn't know to whom they were sold. It is given that Daya is a smart kid. She quickly catches on that there's a possibility that the matron wouldn't hand the children to them because someone's coming regularly to purchase them. And so, Risa asks if she ever hears the name Marquise Race. It doesn't ring a bell to Daya, but Risa found out that he is a regular client of the orphanage and also the right-hand man of House Urali. From what they know, Risa believes that through Race, the House Urali has been buying those children to use them in manufacturing something. Poor children, they don't know what awaits them outside the orphanage. Giuliano is enraged that the children must be experimented on for their enemy's benefit, but there's still no proof to that. Risa then goes over to Daya's chair and pats her back, telling her to be honest with what she thinks would be the best way to save those children. Seeing how Daya calmly handles the situation, she realizes that this child is bottling it up inside. She then embraces her, worried that Daya would feel too burdened about the children. So Risa swears on the name of their house that it will all end well. Shortly after the meeting, Daya realizes that Risa has been smiling more often to her lately, which is very uncommon because Risa normally falls into a depressed state around autumn when she lost her third child. Daya blushes at the thought that she feels like a part of their family. Later on, she sees Emerita slicing the air with his sword, but it looks like his right arm isn't fully healed yet. However, even though this person is dangerous, for some reason Daya doesn't feel threatened. In fact, Emerita feels so familiar. Emerita keeps swinging his swords when Daya notices that his arm is throbbing. She then approaches him with adult advice that he should avoid training until his arm is fully recovered. What is better than a warrior's advice in swordsmanship, right? However, Emerita refuses to listen, stating that he doesn't have the luxury of sitting back and doing nothing. After all, his arm is a result of his lacking skills. Daya can hear the sadness in his voice. She then realizes that he's just like her, wanting revenge on those who did them wrong. And so she tells him to gain back his muscle strength first. Although knowing that Daya is right, he's still quite stubborn, not wanting to accept the fact that a little kid knows better than him. Seems like her ex-warrior's advice is falling on deaf ears. Daya is now frustrated for being called a kid again. Emerita laughs at the thought that he's getting advice from a little kid. Daya, who can't take it anymore, starts dashing towards him and kicks his groin. Just then, Emerita recalls a memory about a small kid kicking his groin when he was about to harm Haley. Confirmed, it was Daya. Daya playfully teases him while hiding behind Rabin, who immediately blocks Emerita from pursuing the child further. Emerita grits his teeth, disappointed by the fact that he used to admire the child's cuteness. Huh? Does this explain how he bullies her every time? Despite how much of a bully he is, Daya understands why he can't let his guard down. Emerita's exactly just like how she used to be. She can see that Emerita has a potential and that he can increase his skills and confidence as he grows. And so she decides to challenge him to an official duel. Just as when the sun finally sets, Emerita realizes that he got roped into the situation. Still, the two of them continue bickering at each other as if they're like cats and dogs. On New Year's, the Leocardia house hosts a celebration. Daya approaches Risa and expresses her gratitude for watching over her for the past year. Aw, her words are warm enough to melt the Duchess's heart. Just then, Giuliano arrives with Jamie and Rel. Even Tandy can't help but to loudly admire Rel's beauty. Daya definitely agrees with Tandy as her eyes sparkle at how dazzling Rel's beauty is. Giuliano just stares at her, who drools over someone she barely knows. Out of all the questions to ask, Giuliano picks the most embarrassing one, and that is to confirm if Daya likes Rel that much. Daya tries her hardest to deny her brother's right assumption. He then starts lecturing her that looks aren't everything and that she should give up on him as early as possible. However, Marciana smacks her brother and points out that a man's looks and character are both important. But if it's a balance of beauty and heart, Rel is indeed perfect. Daya thinks that Marciana understands her fondness over Rel, but her sister firmly objects, emphasizing that a lifelong partner is someone she can fully trust. Hold on, Marciana. The 8-year-old kid didn't say anything about marriage yet. Little do they know, somewhere behind the column is their mother, eavesdropping at their conversation. A day later, Giuliano surprises Daya with the Leocardia's armories, where a lot of valuable items are stored as a way of showing her some motivation in her upcoming duel with Amarita. Don't tell the kid that Giuliano's just trying to divert her attention from Rel. As soon as Giuliano opens the door, Daya's eyes light up, seeing a lot of swords imbued with magic that are crafted by the most skillful hands. She then notices the swords that the Leocardia heirs used for generations. Each sword is switched out at the succession ceremony, where the black two-hand sword imbued with the magic of House Leocardia is passed down. The Demon King might rise again any time, so the House of Leocardia has to prepare for that. If the warrior hasn't appeared 17 years ago, they would have used the sword. After all, Leocardia is the Empire's defense. Giuliano further leads her to something way greater, something only that Risa could do. There she stood in front of the golden armor of the warrior who saved the Empire. Simply put, she's come face to face with herself. Risa has been collecting all the things that the warrior used, from the wooden sword and armor to the utensils. Risa did this in order not to forget the warrior so much that she even made the warrior's statue. Seeing the burial box almost makes her cry. She can easily read it as, "In honor of our warrior, Devota." Devota met Risa for the first time when she rescued her from a monster attack. From then on, along with other magic swordsmen, Risa joined the unit that assisted the warrior. Over time, Devota found herself opening up to her innocent smile. When she sent everyone away, except the knights right before she found the Demon King, Risa was the last to leave her side, holding on to the warrior's promise to see her again. But then, Devota was betrayed and killed. Still, in the end, she is no longer alone. In fact, Risa sincerely cares about her, and that's something she now holds dear in her heart. And maybe, Risa might accept the truth about her past life too. Days later, Daya takes a peek under a tree, looking at Risa, who keeps entertaining the guests. Suddenly, she gets startled when someone taps her shoulder. To her surprise, it's Rel. Without hesitation, she asks him for advice on how to tell the Duchess about something she hasn't told anyone before. Rel then extends his hand to guide her in going somewhere private, where they are the only ones around. She's just a child, but he wants her to calmly express herself with no people to be wary from. Behind the castle is a place full of flowers. Dai and Rel hold hand in hand as their laughter dances with the wind. Then, Rel tells her to freely speak her mind. He knows for a fact that not everything must be said to be understood. For instance, he is well aware that there are people who do not want him to be close to Daya, but he didn't make a fuss about it. Daya stoned for a minute, hoping that Rel didn't hear her siblings talking about how much she likes him. Rel then lifts her up, assuring her not to worry because he also has his own secrets and that her siblings only said it for her own sake without ill intent. Now carrying Daya in his arms, he further assures her to tell the Duchess what she wishes to say because she's much more in love than she knows. I admit, Rel sounds like a romantic character we all want in real life. Daya smiles as she hops out of his arms, thanking him for making her feel much better. As they continue to keep each other company, the Leocardia family frantically calls out Daya. Relax, everyone. They're just talking, with the lifting and carrying and blushing. That's all. That night, Daya asks the Duchess if she believes in reincarnation. The Duchess laughs, unable to contain the child's cuteness and curious mind. There, Risa remembers that she once asked someone that very same question. But if she was reincarnated, she would still like to meet the person in her next life, even though she could no longer remember her past life. At this moment, Daya reveals that there are some people who remember their past life and that she's one of them. The Duchess is a bit surprised about this revelation. Daya is not capable of lying, so she instantly believes her without any suspicions. Also, she's so matured and too advanced in magic despite her age that even Father Luce said her body is in perfect condition to be a magic swordsman. Daya then starts to recall her past memories, the harsh training she endured when she was very young, fighting on the battlefield all alone and even meeting Risa for the first time. Just then, Risa's heartbeat races like horses galloping the open fields. After hearing the news that the warrior was dead, Risa went to retrieve the body, but she was attacked on the way. She thought she was going to die from her injuries, but thankfully, she recovered with Haley's help. When she learned that it was Cardinal Maggiore and his men who attacked her, she searched for her comrades, but all of them are killed. Risa badly wanted to throw those people in prison, but no evidence or even a single witness can be found. After being a mercenary for years, she returned home to get revenge. She needed the political strength, so she reclaimed her title as the Duchess. In order to make Maggiore pay for his crimes, she created the organization Black to investigate him. However, the only things they discovered was that the warrior was abused by Maggiore and that everyone involved with the warrior was either killed or went missing. In the end, Cardinal Maggiore used the warrior to secure his position as Pope. Daya clenches her fists as her eyes burn in betrayal. She cannot forget Maggiore, so she strongly asks the Duchess's help to get revenge on him. Risa, now referring to her as Devota, calmly explains that it's not easy to put Maggiore into trial. Daya then expresses herself that even though she was once Devota, as her youngest, she's still Daya. Risa's eyes widen upon hearing this. This only means that Daya finally accepts the love of the Leocardia family. Once she avenges her past life, she wants to live happily in her new life as Daya Leocardia. Risa can't contain her happiness inside, so she squeezes Daya into her arms as the kid utters the word, Mother. Daya's heart won't stop beating. Her heart feels so full of love. All the things that she bottled up inside suddenly pave way to access the warrior's power, all because she accepts who she truly is. The warrior sword is now in her hands once again. Raul Tolle, 14 years of age, is the genius head of the audit department of House Leocardia. Working closely with Marciana, he is considered as House Leocardia's most valuable talent. Not only is he handsome, but he is also highly skilled in magic and swordsmanship. As he is favored by everyone, it is safe to say that Raul has won much honor for the Tolle family. But it seems like Marciana dislikes him even more lately because of her younger sister, Diamond. But who could dislike that lovely child? Still, he has many questions regarding the sudden appearance of such a talented child. In 4 years, when he comes of age, leaving behind a happy place in his family is his fate. He doesn't have much time left, so he doesn't want to get too close with the people. But when he spotted Daya looking at the Duchess, he started to suspect her even more. On top of that, it's the unknown energy of magic that surrounds her. When Daya asked for advice, he thought that the kids still didn't know that the entire Leocardia family already loved and trusted her. They would not care what kind of secret she carried because to them, she was all they needed to love her, unlike him. At the back of the castle, Daya reached for his arm and confessed that she liked him. For her, it didn't matter if he was leaving to work for another country because he was still part of the Leocardia Duchy. This made Rel smile and then pointed out Daya's hand on his arm, asking if it was also because she liked him so much. Seeing how she reacted to that, his suspicions went away. He may not have much time left, but he wanted to watch over her a while longer. The next day, the Duchess's throne room is surrounded by a strong barrier. That only means that what they're about to talk about requires a higher level of secrecy. Aside from officially welcoming Dia as a member of the Leocardia family, Dia bravely announces that she holds memories and power from her previous life as the warrior chosen by God to defeat the Demon King. And to prove that, she summons the warrior's sword into her hands. Despite the solemnity of the situation, Giuliano's admiration and faith of the ever-fearless and valorous warrior fall apart. He's quite serious about it, guys. Who would have thought that his hero would be such a bully by kicking men's groin? It was nothing like that in the books. Suddenly, Risa calls Rel, telling him that he doesn't have to hold back, but Rel assures him that he isn't doubting her anymore. Not only because the Duchess assures her first, but because he's also one of the people who cherish her. Rel steps forward and kneels on one knee, all while introducing himself as a representative of humanity. He expresses his gratitude as well because Dia was able to leave a mark in the history of mankind by saving them all. Later that day, Dia finds out that Rel is of royal blood. In 4 years, when his mark appears, he will have to return to his rightful place. The current emperor, Brugo Kisel Diocletian, has a severe narcolepsy at only 17 years old. So he has granted regency of the empire to the Empress Dowager Helena Urali. However, Empress Helena, once known for her great wisdom, is said to have lost all of her sharpness since marrying the emperor. For the past 7 years, the empire has become a hotbed of chaos. Her only concern is the welfare of the emperor. Therefore, she has forbidden House Leocardia from entering the capital city. Isn't that too unfair and oppressive against the empire's shield? And so the Leocardia house planned to dethrone the current imperial family and crown Constantine Caloran Diocletian, Rel's real name, for he is the only direct descendant of the late emperor. After all, the destiny of House Leocardia is to lead the empire in the right way and protect it. As the honored warrior, Dia knows better than anyone how lonely it is to fight battles alone. That was the kind of life she had before she met Risa, but because of her, she was able to endure. So she doesn't want to avoid Rel this time. She wants to follow her heart and be true to herself. Risa blushes and hopes she'll become Rel's source of strength. Is it safe to assume that this is going to be a matter of considering him as Dia's lifelong partner now? They both look good together. The rest of the day goes well and Dia is able to call the Leocardia family as her own. Seeing how these people she trusts embrace her warmly without hesitation, she realized that her new family would accept her no matter who she is. There are still things she must face, but she isn't scared at all. In this lifetime, she's no longer fighting alone. I'm so happy for this kid. She deserves the world's love. One afternoon, Dia continues to train herself for her upcoming match with Emerita. Normally, Giuliano would worry about Dia, but in terms of physical ability and magical power, it will be an overwhelming victory for Dia. During the picnic, Giuliano shares that a dragon was seen on Mount Chaos, so their parents had to check on it. However, that's impossible. High-level monsters that live on Mount Chaos keep themselves there, and even if they happen to wander into the duchy, there's a strong barrier around the area that would block them. Just then, Emerita mocks how weak the Leocardia's barrier is. This provokes both Giuliano and Dia. Again, they bicker at each other like cats and dogs. Giuliano tries to warn Emerita to be careful in their upcoming match, but it seems like Emerita's underestimating the little kid. Amidst the bickering moment, Emerita can't help but to feel strange while looking at Dia. He is sure that he has never met her before, but he feels like they've known each other since long ago. This feeling is like déjà vu. When he was little, he read in a book that people of this earth live under the power of God. So when their lives ends, they are given another chance at life through reincarnation. Therefore, an unexplainable sense of déjà vu is connected to one's past life. Suddenly, a memory of the honored warrior calling him by his name, Kyo, flashes in his mind. The day of Dia and Amarita's battle arrives. Dia's friends worry for her, knowing that Amarita is much older and bigger than her. However, Dia's older brother Giuliano feels the exact opposite. He's more worried for Amarita and even warns her to take it easy. The battle starts, and throughout it all, the audience is in shock at how amazing Dia is. They can't believe an 8-year-old girl does that. Even Giuliano's friend tells him that his sister is more amazing than him. Well, she really is. She was once an amazing warrior in her past life. While Dia jumps and is about to hit Amarita with her wooden sword, she notices that he's in pain due to the cramps in his arms. She wants to change her form, but it's too late. She even warns him to dodge, but it was in vain. The hit landed, causing him to black out. While waiting for Emerita to wake up, Daya can't help but feel guilty. She blames herself for it, saying that she should have changed her position mid-air. Unfortunately, she can't do that with her current body just yet. Seeing how sad his sister is, Giuliano tries his best to comfort her, but suddenly the butler arrives to inform them of Emerita's waking. Daya apologizes for what she did, but Emerita cuts her off by saying that it was his fault for not knowing his body's limits. With what Emerita's been saying, Daya feels something unusual about him. It's as if he's nicer now. What's up with the sudden change of attitude? Daya and Giuliano are both weirded out by Emerita's action. It feels as if he's a completely different person. Is it because Daya injured his head? Did his personality change because she hit him on the head? Both of them are about to leave when Emerita opens his mouth, saying that he feels embarrassed and immature to have a duel with a little girl, and formally asks Daya for forgiveness, in which she gladly accepts. A few days later, Daya goes to a famous shoe shop with her friends Elora and Jamie to buy some squeaky shoes. But unfortunately, they don't have her size. Her mood is ruined. She's gloomy all day, even when they're having their snack. Her friends notice how sad she is. All of a sudden, Emerito came and noticed her. He even notices how sad she looks and asks what's wrong. It seems like he pays extra attention to Daya now. Her friends told him that it's all because she can't buy the popular squeaky shoes. Emerita looks at the shoes and says that he can make it for her, which shocks her. She can't believe that Emerita will make those for her. Why is he like that to her? Daya wants to believe that it's all because he's embarrassed he lost, but Elora says that it's because he cares for her. All of a sudden, Elora brings up the idea that Emerita has been following her because he fell for her boldness the moment she wins against him in the battle. Isn't he like way older than her in his life? Daya thinks that her friend's idea is all absurd. That's why she needs to ask some opinions of real adults like Marciana. Seeking some adult advice, Daya walks into her sister's office. Marciana, her sister, wonders why she's in there, and Daya tells her that she needs some advice about the strange way Emerita was acting. Marciana then hugs her and tells her how glad she is to help. After Marciana knows about the whole situation, she confronts Emerita. When she's about to ask him, she notices the shoes that he's making and asks if it's for Daya. And it is. He is making those for her to make up for how he treated her before. Seeing Emerita's actions, Marciana confirms that it's true. His haughty gaze, twisted attitude, and all the things Emerita was known for can no longer be found. Because Emerita's personality was due to his heart condition, he won't be able to fake kindness. But what if his entire story of getting revenge on his family is a lie? What if he's secretly communicating with House Arali while spying on Leocardia? Then that could explain his sudden kindness to Daya. Emerita notices Marciana clenching her fists. Without wasting any time, he quickly defends himself, saying that he's all sincere with what he's doing. Still, in doubt, Marciana asks if he's in love with Daya, but he's not that shameless to dare to have indecent intentions towards her. He only wishes to show his regret for his past actions by giving her those shoes. In the end, Marciana confirms that he's really sincere about it. Despite using her detection spell, she can't find anything suspicious. It looks like he was hit on the head and suddenly became mature. In the palace, Daya is in so much happiness when the maid gives her a handkerchief with her complete name, Daya Leocardia. Her beautiful smile flashes on her face as she hugs it and faces the maid to say thank you. She's about to go when all of a sudden the maid asks her if she remembers the day she was born. It turns out that since they don't know the exact date that Daya was born, the maid says that they're planning to celebrate her birthday in late autumn since that's the only thing they know. They even plan on asking the orphanage about the details of her birth. But then Daya remembers that she was kidnapped the moment that she was born, so there would be no answers from the orphanage. All of a sudden, Daya wonders if her birth parents are searching for her, or if she should try to look for them. But then, what if her family will feel betrayed or will think that she's trying to start a new life? The maid notices how torn she is when all of a sudden her mother comes and asks her if she's okay.